Joining us now is Democratic Senator Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island. He's a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. And Senator, you had that hearing yesterday with the Attorney General where she refused to answer questions. She was untruthful in more ways than anyone could count. We saw Donald Trump's FBI director do the same thing in your committee. And here's Donald Trump trying to prosecute James Comey for testimony to the same committee. And the prosecutors, as we saw today, don't even know what the testimony is that was indicted for.
Yeah, it's ironic in the extreme that the day before this Department of Justice arraigns the former FBI director on charges of lying to the Judiciary Committee of the Senate, the Attorney General of the United States is providing false information to the Judiciary Committee of the Senate. And when asked about the current FBI director's lies to the Judiciary Committee of the Senate, she totally hangs him out to dry and gives him no cover at all on his lies that his grand jury testimony was sealed or that he's publicly released a transcript. Those are like yes-no things. It's not like there's a lot of nuance. You're lying if you say that, and it's not true. And the added problem is that Patel's lie about his grand jury testimony being sealed involved his assertion that it had been put under court order by the chief judge in the federal court in the District of Columbia, who's like a real person who's paying attention to this stuff and who knows perfectly well and has since said on the record, there was no such order. So you have the current FBI director lying about a non-existent order, supposedly by the chief judge in the DC federal court. And in the meantime, it's Comey 5 years ago that they're going after. It's just an astounding side-by-side.
And we have Donald Trump's public order to the Attorney General to prosecute James Comey. The judge in this case knows that. Judges are allowed to read newspapers. They're allowed to consume news. He knows all about that before it will even be entertained as motions in his courtroom.
Yeah, here's the huge problem that the MAGA Department of Justice has. They perform entirely for an audience of one, right? It's Trump. He's the only audience Patel, Bondi, Blanche, the others care about. But judges are watching. Boasberg, the chief judge of the federal court in DC, is watching Patel's lies about his court order. The judges in the Eastern District of Virginia in the Comey case are watching the Gong show that unraveled in their courthouse around the Comey case. The Southern District of New York judges are watching when the chief prosecutors in the Southern District of New York quit because of the corrupt Eric Adams prosecution. So you build up a lot of ill will. And where that comes back to bite you is in what Patrick Fitzgerald talked about here, which is we're going to make motions to knock this out for vindictive prosecution. And unless the government is willing to concede that, he gets discovery. He gets to dig in. And the judge has wide discretion on what discovery is appropriate. So having Patrick Fitzgerald go up the chain from these new import prosecutors up all the way through to the president, digging ferociously with the tenacity for which he is famous and intimate knowledge of how the Department of Justice should and should not work, those prosecutors in the Eastern District of Virginia are going to be dreaming of a 2-day trial by the time all of this gets ripped through, and the judges have wide authority to let that discovery roll. And when they've seen this Gong show, the burden the benefit of the doubt is lost to the government.
Senator, I want to squeeze in a quick commercial break here. When we come back, I want to ask you about the question you had for Attorney General yesterday that really left her speechless. The question about the Epstein files contain photographs that were in Jeffrey Epstein's possession of Donald Trump with young women. Those photograph questions really silenced her. We're going to be right back with Senator Sheldon Whitehouse.